Yeah, I think we're good there. Just gonna finish. No. No! No! Hello, welcome back. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? But what better way to return than with something that I've been planning on doing for quite a while? So, I just so happened to finish Tears of the Kingdom. Barely. But when did this fucking come out? May 12th, 2020. That's not so bad, but even so, with games of this sort of scope, I tend to want to, take my time and truly process everything that the game has to offer, regardless of whether or not it's imperative. And that's where I got this idea from. I want to review games sort of after the hype, a sort of retrospective, if you know what I mean. Hey, that's a play on my. Anyways, I spent maybe, I don't know, 150, 200 hours on this game. I'm not one to rush a game and beat it as quick as I can so I can get my shitty review up. Now, Tears of the Kingdom is a game everyone was heavily anticipating. I myself was kind of hit or miss on it. I still got it first day, regardless. But now I'm gonna go back, tell you all what I liked, what I didn't like. And I kind of wanted to do this after there was already this kind of general consensus on what people really thought of the game, and just formulate my own opinion. Can you believe that? Formulating your own opinion on the internet. I don't believe there could be such a thing anymore. Now, this should really go without saying. Spoiler warning for anyone that hasn't played the game. I'm going to be talking about the most memorable aspects of this game, at least for me. So, without further ado, here is Tears of the Kingdom after the hype. So, starting off, the story. I myself am not a person that has ever really played a Zelda game for the story. I'm not sure if that's necessarily like a big thing for people. Actually, the fucking game theory. But for me personally, I play more for the dungeons, temples, puzzles, and I myself am not a puzzle person. Granted, if you watched any of my streams, I am god-awful at puzzles. But this coming directly after Breath of the Wild, I feel is a good example of a Zelda story. One of the better ones, I think. No matter how convoluted or meta it can be. So Link and Zelda go down into these catacomb things and find emaciated corpse, dehydrated corpse of Ganondorf. All kinds of funness ensues. Zelda goes back in time, changes things from the past, but don't really have an effect on the future. But she somehow did those things, and then you can find... It's all very convoluted and meta, which I hate using that word, but I can't really explain it as well as I hope to. After that, it's essentially the same gist as Breath of the Wild. Go to 4 subsections of the map, find Zelda, get sword, beat Ganon. Pretty straightforward. But let me tell you something. Matt Mercer Ganon, that was pretty top tier. And the flashback sequences were all cool, being able to see Hyrule in its heyday with, I guess, can be considered Hylian ancestors with really big ears. Even bigger than the ones that they have now. But with the exception of Link, Zelda, and Ganon, I didn't really find myself caring about most other characters, except for, Now after that, what's new? Most of what's given to us in the game can be considered somewhat of an upgrade from Breath of the Wild. You keep your glider, which is good, but now you have a multitude of ways to travel with the Ultra Hand Fuse ability, which works like the magnet from Breath of the Wild, except you can connect things, and you gain an ability to auto-build things that you've previously made, so that made things a lot easier. But I myself didn't really sort of build anything too crazy or outlandish. Most schematics that you find around the depths or these already built contraptions in the Sky Islands are enough for me to get by. I wasn't really going on any sort of escapades that what looks like most of this game's player base has been doing, but finding different weapon combinations was pretty fun for me. Rather than finding weapons everywhere like you did in Breath, you had to fuse monster parts with these rusted out old weapons caused by Ganon sort of mist stuff. And you can make some truly like powerful monstrosities of weapons, which I really liked because combat was my main thing in this game. Ascend allows you to go straight vertical whether you're in a cave system or a previously built platform, which makes traversing a little bit easier, but at the end of the day I actually just found myself climbing everywhere. Recall felt very situational for my playthrough. I didn't use it too often. It just allows you to reverse certain items in the opposite direction that they came from. But again, didn't use it too often. What I did find myself investing more in was the armor, which is funny because I remember back in Breath of the Wild, that was something I never really took that time to actually do. But here, I don't know if it was just me, but for some reason I felt weaker, a lot more squishy, which honestly is just fine. I love that feeling of helplessness and sort of finding my own way to get stronger by whatever means necessary. Now, the biggest issue that I've been hearing about from this game, the map. Woo! I'm very indifferent. For the base map of Hyrule, it's almost entirely the same thing as Breath of the Wild, with very minor things added to it. You got the tree blossoms, you got... No, that's it. I know I'm probably missing a lot of things, but the tree blossoms were the only real things I can remember being added to the new map. Towers are still being used to unlock parts of the map, albeit they are much cooler to use while being launched up into the air and being able to see everywhere you can explore, even though you kind of already explored it. But to me personally, I just didn't find too much of a difference, if I'm being honest. Now we go down! I'll admit, when I first went down into the depths, I was scared shitless. It is dark, you can't see anything, there are noises coming from whatever which way. It was like your first time playing Minecraft. I did not want to explore any more of it until I found that first light route. I was kind of hoping you could just throw those bright bloom seeds everywhere, because even though I'm a giant pussy, it just felt a lot more fun that way. Once you start unlocking more of the map with the light routes and you're able to see everything, you notice there's not much really going on there, save for a couple monsters, maybe a coliseum here or there, but I say the depths were pretty empty for about maybe 90% of it, which kind of sucked because it started off very strong. But that's all I really gotta say on that. The sky was neat though. It was actually pretty fun exploring most of them. Every time I would see a new one in the air, I would get excited and try to find the best possible route to take to get up there, whether that was with Tulin's upgrade, my glider, or any pre-made creations. But I feel like they could have had a lot more. What they used for the depths was much needed for the sky, because all in all I found myself approximately spending maybe 60% of my time on the ground, 30 in the depths, and 10 in the sky. Which sucks, because that was probably the more fun part of the map. So overall for the map, while it was neat to explore the two new sections, and I guess revisiting the old map was still a little bit nostalgic, but it kinda did just feel like the same thing. And now it's time for the quests, where everyone in Hyrule sees you as their personal errand boy. Oh my god, you're the savior of Hyrule? The one who saved Princess Zelda and defeated Calamity Ganon, that evil demon thing flying above the air and terrorizing us all for years? Hey, you mind picking some mushrooms for me? So some side quests are neat, some delve like a little bit further into the lore if you're into that. Some are related to specific sets of armor or weapons. Most are very skippable or repetitive. I did enjoy the stable quests though, where every stable has reported the Princess Zelda sighting and you're supposed to find out the mystery behind it. That was actually pretty cool, I really liked that a lot. But why in God's earth are these birds so damn buff? Now with my completionist mindset, the quests that I acquire, I do them no matter what, no matter how tedious or boring they may be. But towards the end of the game, with the amount of quests that were popping up left and right, I found myself actively ignoring them. I would go through towns and see that little exclamation mark pop up and just nope, out of there. As for the dungeons in this game, they're fairly the same as they were in Breath of the Wild, mainly using a combination of all the abilities you've unlocked to solve certain puzzles or reach certain places. And this is something that I enjoyed most from both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that there could be a multitude of ways to solve a certain puzzle within a shrine, and you're not just locked into one specific path through and through. And there's a huge chunk of them throughout the map. And although I didn't get all of them, I feel like I got a fair amount of them done. And all of them felt pretty new and refreshing, none of them felt entirely the same. But if there were some that I couldn't stand, it would be the ones where you start off completely butt-ass naked. You know, Link's manhood just gracefully flapping in the wind. And you have to get whatever you can find from enemy drops or what the shrine actually offers you until you survive and beat every enemy. Those got pretty repetitive and I would kind of dread whenever I'd have to go in there just, my god, I already went through this at the start of the game where I felt like a helpless little rodent. I don't need to repeat it about 20 or so times. The temples in this game were pretty neat though. I was a big fan of the Divine Beast in Breath of the Wild, and while these weren't necessarily as intricate, I felt that they were pretty well paced, and they made excellent use of the abilities you just received from this area's champion. Oh yeah, you get new abilities from each champion after you beat the temple, or during their main quests. Alright, that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about, at least from what I retained with my Neanderthal homunculi brain. Overall, even though I feel like I did nag on it a lot in this review, Tears of the Kingdom did feel like a pretty decent successor for Breath of the Wild, though I never got that same feeling that I did when I first played Breath of the Wild. When I first picked it up, I know this is gonna sound cheesy and corny as all high hell, but I just felt this sense of wonder, just finding a new area, exploring every single inch of the map that I could, seeing what I could do with new items, checking every little crevice. The side missions felt interesting, and I don't know what it was, but I just never got that from this. That's not to say it's bad. I still had a good time exploring different kind of weapon combos and exploring all the sky map and part of the depths before it got boring. And the story itself hooked me at the start. It had a very long and, dare I say, boring middle section. Flashbacks were cool, and I did get more into it near the end. But overall, I found myself trying to finish it as soon as I could near the end of the game. Overall, pretty neat game though. If you're really into Zelda, or if you just like exploring around, you're really gonna like it overall. Tears of the Kingdom, 4 out of 6. That's just my opinion. And that concludes my first episode of After the Hype. I'm sure you guys care so deeply about my opinion. I'm glad that I personally am able to give you all your own opinion. Especially with me being 6 months late to the party. You know, way after everyone has cared about this game already. But I'm glad I could be here to entertain the 4 of you. But thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. If you want to see more After the Hype, I'll be here. Or if not, I probably won't upload for another goddamn 9 months. Oh, fuck. Join the PegChamp family today. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.